So if you wanted, let's look at it the other way. If you wanted sector number 90, then you divide 90 by 9. That gives you what track it's on, right? Yeah. And it would be on the 10th track, actually, but tracks start at 0, so it's on track 9. Yeah. And then from there, it calculates and it says, okay, we know it's on track 9, and it should be the first sector on track 9, so it's, sector 0. So that's how it gets to them. There's no reason why you can't get around it. If you know how to.
I was always wondering what they actually did to initialize the disk.
Well, they wrote their own format routine. Yeah. So did we. We just wrote our own format routine.
Because I noticed when you use the disk manager module, at least with disk manager 2, and you're initializing the disk, it says, well, 40 sections, that's your, or 40
tracks,
that's your default. But I've actually been able to put another number in there, and it only does so many sections.
Oh yeah, so many tracks.
Some tracks.
But always 9 sectors per track. Yeah, you don't have to initialize all tracks on a disk. That isn't a must.
Yeah, that's that plugin that will scrap the rest of them.
Oh, that's on the core comp one, it'll scrap the rest of the second side.
It's got the same.
Yeah, second side. Because it runs out and it says if I've initialized 35 tracks on a side. I expect 40 for calculations when I get to the 35th track. Bye-bye.
So.
Yeah. It's the way it's calculated. It can't get past those bad sections. When a disk is initialized, track 0 is here. Here's the disk, and here's the center hub right now.
It's a software problem.
Oh, it's more. Yeah, it's a little more than that, though. Let's look at the logistics here of software. How big do you want the software to be? On both sides of the disk, the tracks are numbered 0 through 39 in this direction. However, when you're initializing a disk, as the sectors are written, we have sector 0 here. By the way, this is side 1. It's the bottom of the disk. As you write those sector numbers out, they wrap around this way here. So now you tell it to initialize 35 tracks on this side, initialize 35 tracks on, let's say 30 just for hearsay. So that's 270 sectors on this side, and 270 sectors on this side, right? Well, you've got a big problem here. There's a big gap at the end of this disk gap that's going to try and verify.
Well, sector 0 tells the software how to use that.
Not at that time it doesn't. When a disk is formatted, no, but not until the disk is fully verified does sector 0 know what the disk is.
Yeah.
That's the last thing that's done on a verify on a disk when it's been initialized. After it's verified all the sectors, it comes out, it writes sector 0 and it writes sector 1, and then it's done and it comes back to you. But it doesn't know it. And there's no, it knows only from what it was passed to it that it's 35 tracks. You can get around it. But why?
There are 35 track drives on the market.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Well, if you tell us the 35 tracks are 35 track drive, it'll work.
On single-sided. Double-sided is when it runs into the problem. When it tries to wrap around here, it runs into a problem here. Double-sided. Single-sided, it will initialize 35 tracks without any problem. But why? You're losing, 10 tracks. That's a lot of data. Everybody's going for more data, and you want to initialize it so less.
The drive like that.
Oh, 35. Double-sided 35.
Per text drive.
Trading time. I saw a good ad the other day, $99 for TX. 55 Bs. What do you hold on to that 35 track drive for?
Get two of those from me.
Up north. Yeah, Hayward, California. Yeah, Terry knows.
Fred?
Yeah.
I have a TE2 in my module, and I have a program that they call speech.
Okay.
And I run for the basic program.
Okay.
I got a program controller.
Oh, okay. Say no more. I know what your problem is. You can't.
Unless I go to hit the space bar twice, then it works okay.
Okay. Basically, what happened, and I guess in a way it was a mistake on our part. We wanted, in the design of the core comp card, when we started designing it, we wanted the disk manager to be on the first menu, so you could just press the key and the disk manager would boot in. Well, we tried all the other tricks that we knew to get that thing out there and get it accessed properly, but the computer wasn't allowing us to do it in a normal operation. So we had to build a new title screen in order to have this come to be. Mistake number 1. We should not have taken away control of the computer like that because it bypassed some of the normal functions that the computer did on power up. On power up, As I said, it goes through the cards and then finds out, does any card have a power-up routine? Well, the Core card has a power-up routine, as does the TI disk controller card. TI disk controller card just clears out memory here, does a couple other little goodies, resets the floppy disk controller chip, and returns control back to the computer. Core card clears out memory here, resets the floppy disk controller chip, holds on, and it doesn't let go. By not letting go, it can't return back to the rest of the ground monitor. This ground monitor. And in this ground monitor are the routines to scan the modules for power-up routines and execute those if applicable. But that happens only after you press the key on the TI key. You know, when you've got the title screen on the TI key, on the TI title screen. When you press the key, that short pause between that key press and the time that you get your menu is caused by scanning for power-up routines and executing power-up routines in the modules.
Are you saying that it's best to always not use core?
No, there are only a couple of modules that have power-up routines, and TE2 is one of them. Household budget management is another one. I think PRK has a power-up routine in it. Editor, assembler, extended basic, they don't have power-up routines in them, so they're fine. And what happens on the power-up routine in the TE2, it sets up a small pad here in BDB RAM so that it can talk to speech, open speech, and it knows it as a valid device. But by not allowing the power-up routine, it's never there. That's why when you go through it the second time, you're going back through the normal, you come back to the council and you go back through the normal power-up routine when you hit that space bar twice. That's what happens.
And there's only really 3 modules that you're concerned about.
Yeah. There may be one more, but I'm not sure on that. And also, the reason the reason it was stopped, the reason we would not allow modules to power up, the Scott Forshman modules, the educational modules, you know, when you press the space bar, all of a sudden you have a Scott Forshman screen, no menu ever. That's their power-up routine. So what was happening was their title screen was fighting with our title screen, and we were fighting for control, and nobody was winning. So we just ended up in a locked-up condition, more or less, at that point. They just took control away. So we had to stop the execution of power routines, and it was kind of a mistake. If I ever had to do a DSR over again, I would not put that in it. I'd go back to the normal TI title screen, yeah. Thanks. That's it? Any more questions?
There's talk of a computer console that's going to have more memory.
Oh, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks good. I will say this about it. I do not know the specs, or let's say specs that I can talk about, but it looks good. We've all heard this 99.8, or it's not a 99.8 though, so I hate to even hear it being called an 8. It is not an 8 clone. It does different things, but it looks like this time it will be a reality. You know, we've heard this one.
Yeah.
4 or 5 times now. We've heard about new computers that are coming out that will be compatible with the 4A, and they've never materialized. So,
What I'm worried about is they won't be able to run the software we got.
so they're targeting it for compatibility.
All they call low is incompatible.
There's no verification on that at this time.
I just got a newsletter exchange today from NET in Texas, I believe it was. It says Lou Phillips was down there talking to TI. And confirming the availability of the new video display, and also attempting to get the rights to the GPL, which he hoped he would be able to get because he would be buying so many chips. So this was the latest, and again, they said that he, again, did not like the term 99.8. That is not what it is. It will do many of the things that the 99.8 is supposed to do. He does have a dozen 99.8s at his company, and the thing is very similar, but it's not a 99.8.
By any stretch of the imagination. Yeah.
And of course, the thing is not final yet. He is waiting to make sure he's got the chips, got the programs, and everything else before he makes that announcement.
And there haven't been any, what I would consider to be hardcore tests on compatibility at this time on the machine. So it's targeted to be compatible, but as far as getting out there, and the true test is when it gets out there and everybody starts running all their software that they've written. That's the true test. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
This is the question and answer portion of Craig Miller's presentation. These questions were submitted by mail, source, telephones from user groups around the country and individuals. So, Craig,